When we moved to Europe. Grandma's porch, a place to relax, a place to enjoy. Come visit Grandma's porch. Moving to Europe. Hello, y'all. I'm Diana Brienne. Well, I'm not moving to Europe now. I live in the South. And yet there was a time that my husband and I moved to Europe. So I'm going to tell you the story about it. My husband and I had been married about 2 years, and we were living about 2 hours from where we live right now. I'm sorry, about an hour from where we live right now. And so my husband was offered a job opportunity over in Europe, and I really didn't want to take it because, well, my family was all here in the States, and I didn't want to leave at that time. And yet my husband said, we really need to go. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And boy, was he ever right. He was so right. Now, this is like 25 years ago. And so we didn't have any children. And, you know, we thought we had all these responsibilities when we really didn't. You know, I think we had a house payment and that was it. And so off we went to Europe. And I remember I had never been, you know, on a plane trip that far away. And I remember we got on the plane and I had caught a cold because we had been up to New England right before that. And it was like April time frames. It was still kind of cold. And I caught a cold. I was really, really thin at the time. And I caught a really bad cold. And so we're getting on the plane and I'm not feeling good. I'm just beginning not to feel good. Right as we're getting on that plane to go to Europe. And so I took a Tylenol and I couldn't sleep. It was just the most uncomfortable trip, that whole trip. I remember going over. And so anyhow, we got there, we landed, and two of his like future co-workers met us at the airport, and they drove us to what was called a guest house. And it was like a hotel, but it was more like a personal type of hotel, if that makes sense. And so it just all looked new and strange, but I wasn't feeling good. So when we got to the guest house, I remember going into the bathroom and everything looked so different, like the electric sockets and how to use electricity and how to use the water and everything. But I made a really, really very warm, hot bathtub of water. And I got in there and I just soaked and soaked and soaked. I was so cold. I was so cold. So anyhow, over a couple of days, I got better. Well, they delivered some of our goods. Our furniture was going to take like a month before it was there. And our cars were not yet there, but our bicycles had arrived. And so we had to go out and look for an apartment. And I remember getting on the bicycles, and it was kind of yucky weather and not raining, but it was kind of like really overcast and chilly. And we would ride on the bicycles from town to town looking for an apartment to rent. And we checked out a few different apartments, but we settled on this one. And the landlady, she couldn't speak English and I couldn't speak her language. And so we just kind of communicated with hand gestures and smiled and laughed and all that. Well, she turned out to be so wonderful later after we moved in. She taught me how to cook European style food, and she tried to teach me how to learn other languages, in which I did because I got little books and cassettes. And I remember when we got our cars, I had to get the driver's license over there. And so I got a driver's license, and I was so scared to drive anywhere. But I got out there and I started driving. But most of the time, I took my bicycle to the store with a big basket on it, and I bought my groceries, and I brought them home in like a little basket. Because over there, they don't give you paper bags and plastic bags. You carry them and you take your basket with you. And it was just a magical, magical time. And I would bake pies and put them on the windowsill. And actually, we lived in Heidelberg. Our first destination was Heidelberg area. And so there was this huge castle there. And we would go to the castle quite often and go running and, you know, around the castle area and in the Old Stadt, which was like the old town. And it was just wonderful and magical. We took many, many trips while we were in Europe, and we lived there 5 years, so we traveled extensively to other countries and all around. So we later moved from that apartment, but before we did, I got this little black and white TV, and we would watch all the European TV shows, even though we couldn't understand them. And I remember one show called Alles oder Nichts, All or Nothing, and it was this real funny looking woman and funny looking man that would come out all dressed up, and it was kind of a game show. And I would watch these shows, you know, because that's all we got. We didn't have American TV, we just had European TV. And so we would take the trains and we would go places. And I remember the first time we went to Austria, my husband tricked me. I said, take me to Austria. So he drove me across the border and he turned around and came back over. And I still thought I was in Austria. And we were always playing jokes on each other like that. But we traveled. We went to so many countries, and it was just a fascinating time. And I remember going to Rome, and I loved Rome and Venice, and I loved, you know, there was just so many wonderful, beautiful towns that we traveled to, beautiful cities. And we traveled all the time. And so we moved to another apartment, which is one that I really, really wanted to move to. It was beautiful. But 6 months later, my husband ended up getting transferred again. But I stayed there for a few more months because I had a job and I couldn't leave it quite yet. I was committed to it. And so I waited till the job was done. And then we moved to Bavaria. And it was like Heidi territory with cows and chickens. And it was beautiful, farm fields, and it was just magical. And I loved that period of our lives as well. So I've told stories about this in other videos, but I thought, well, I just come on here and talk a little bit about it, that I so cherish my time that we lived in Europe, those 5 years. And it opened up so many doors and so many opportunities and so many wonderful, amazing events that would follow in my life. And we lived over there, and I did teach myself how to speak different languages just through books and cassettes. And we traveled and we ate all kinds of different wonderful foods. It's exciting to travel. It's exciting to go to new places. So that was another period of my life that I totally loved, totally cherished. And my husband and I often talk about returning back there to go visit, just to go visit some of the places that we had lived. So I thought I would share that with you, my travels in Europe. So from my house to yours, may God bless you. I hope to talk to you soon again. I hope you like, share, and subscribe, and tell all your friends about my channel. And I hope to talk to you then. Bye-bye. To relax and a place to enjoy. Grandma's porch.